What's going on, and welcome back to another episode of Reach Home Recovery. Tonight, we're going to be talking about why you feel stuck after narcissistic abuse, and we're going to give some tips on how to get over it. Now, for starters, if you've been in any type of prolonged relationship with a narcissist, whether they be a partner, a friend, a narcissistic family member, that prolonged exposure to their crazy-making behavior, it has an effect on you. A lot of you are watching this video because you felt it and you're trying to understand it. It has an effect on you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It brings you down. Now, the reason for that is because the core of that dysfunction, the core of that narcissistic dysfunction, is validation of the false self. Now, they do that by obtaining supply, which in terms means they do that by obtaining power and control over another individual. See, to them, if they can view themselves as greater than someone like you, who has everything going for them, confident, self-righteous, then that's all the validation that they need. But unfortunately, the way they go about doing it is through abuse and manipulation. So let's take the physical and verbal abusers. They'll demean you, physically put hands on you. And that's an overt way of obtaining that power or showcasing, in their mind, their power and control over you. Some of them aren't that bold. Some of them are chronic liars, chronic cheaters, manipulators, gaslighters. And that's a covert way to get that power and control. Because that chronic cheater and that chronic liar, if they can do that to multiple people, guess how powerful they feel. But a key thing that these abusers have to do before they can get you to a level where they feel like they have power and control over you is break you down mentally and break you down emotionally. Now, this is where the damage occurs, because they don't do it all at once. They know you have sense enough to walk away from a situation if they were to abuse you up front all at once. So they have to do it slowly. They indoctrinate you over time. They do it little by little until they build that abuse up, and vice versa, tear you down. Now, the tearing down process of abuse, don't get that twisted. It is abuse and it's intentional. So what happens is that abuse hurts. Now, it may not leave a physical scar, but it's leaving a bunch of psychological wounds in you, a bunch of mental hurts that in some cases, those scars run deeper than any physical scar ever could. So what happens is your body, as well as yourself, understand that something is wrong. So your body has a natural trauma response when it's in danger. Most of y'all already heard this. It's fight, flight, or freeze. Now, the narcissist is so sinister with this abuse. And that indoctrination happens so slowly and it builds up over time that you don't know that you're directly being attacked. So your fight or your flight doesn't engage. What engages is your freeze response. And that's stage one. Now, you don't literally freeze. What happens is your cognitive function starts to slow down. Some people have even described this as a type of brain fog or narc fever, to where this abuse is running in your head. The games that they're playing, the lying, the cheating, the messages you're getting from your gut and your intuition, which are contradicted by their masterful lying, that all circles in your head, and it's like a sludge. Like your brain was operating at full capacity, and now there's this toxic sludge of abuse from that narcissist that's slowing down your cognitive function. Think of it like this. Think of it like if you were running a race. You were running on a straight, level playing field. Then, all of a sudden, there was about a foot of water introduced. Now, you're still running, but you're not moving as fast as you were before. Now, let's say that water is waist deep. Now you're not moving anywhere near as fast as you were moving before. Now that water turns to a type of sludge and you're crawling. That's kind of like what your brain is going through when you're going through this incognito abuse of the narcissist. So that process happens for years on repeat with this narc. And eventually you get to the discard phase. They got as much as they can from you, and it's time to move on. But by this point, so much is built up, and you've gotten tired of going back and forth with it so much that you start doing your research online and you run across the type of person that they actually are, the type of narcissist that they are. And it all starts to fall in place, one after another. It all makes sense as to why you were so confused. It all makes sense as to why the relationship, friendship, or the family union had to end that way. But by this point, considerable damage has been done. It's like somebody robbed you, left you out in the desert or the wilderness somewhere to fend for yourself. Somebody that you trusted did this to you. And it takes a toll. It took a toll on me, as I can well assume it's taking a toll on a lot of y'all watching. And if you're not careful, what can happen is you'll start to ruminate over all the red flags you saw in that situationship. You'll start to ruminate over all the past hurts and the second, third, fifth chances that you gave them. And with that rumination comes the knowledge of knowing that they never really truly cared for you in the first place. Not cared for you in the way that you cared for them. So if you're not careful, you'll go through those cycles of rumination on repeat. And it's like self-inflicted abuse. And your narc loves it. Because the narc is gone, ran off in the sunset with another supply. That's just somebody else that they use, and don't get caught up over that. But they still have somewhat of a control over you because that rumination, that cycle keeps going on in your head. And that's where the stuckness comes from. So now that you know, we got to break free. And in order to break free, it's going to take some work. I mean, you didn't get to where you were overnight. So don't expect it to be healed overnight. But in order for it to be healed, you have to heal intentionally. Now, I'm going to give you some steps that I did in order to help me heal. Some of the steps overlap with another video about healing from narcissistic abuse. You can check that one out, but I'll just do a quick overview. So at first, you need to intentionally stop thinking about that narcissist. You need to cut them off. Cut them off as best as possible. Some of your narcissist family, some of them you have to co-parent with, but cut them off as best as possible. In my previous video, I talked about BDUing. Block, delete, unsubscribe. You should not be following them on social media. You should not be following them on any platform. You should not be subscribed to their everyday ins and outs of their life because they're giving you the highlight reel. And it's a highlight reel after they did you dirty. So that's not something you need to be watching. Delete them off your stuff if possible. If you're in that situation where it's family union or co-parent, learn techniques like the gray rock. And you have to work on your emotional stability and fortitude when you're around them. So that's the first step, but that's only the step on the narcissist side. We got to remember that a considerable amount of damage happened to us throughout this entire phase. So we have to get to a point where we heal. And again, it's done intentionally. First and foremost, the ruminations, your imagination, you need to cast down those imaginations anytime they come into the forefront of your mind. You'll be able to catch them. You'll know. Don't let your imagination run wild with what happened, what that narcissist could be doing, what they are planning. Leave it in the hands of God. Move forward and work on you. Next step is working on you. Now, the best way I found to do this is understand that it's going to take progress and it's going to be a daily progress goal. And one of the key videos I watched, it was a video about Tony Robbins. I don't remember the exact title of the video, but he said there were about, he ran a list and he said there were 5 things he needed to do every day in order to progress in his everyday life. So I did that same list as well, and I broke down my top 5. So every day, I make sure I pray. I make sure I read the Bible. I make sure, to the best of my ability, I eat healthy, drink water, make sure to get a little bit of exercise in, and I make sure to get my sleep. Now that may sound simple, but whatever your top 5 things are, if you do them day in and day out, you're going to continually and progressively heal. And the cool part about it is that you're not just restored to who you were before you met the narc. This sets in part of you new behavior patterns, as well as you having the knowledge of these toxic people and increased discernment of how to avoid them. So the combination of those things helped you become a better individual than when you were before you met the narc. You got to get excited about this, because I'm excited about my own healing. Now, okay, I see some of y'all out there. How you know about that last part? You guessing? You not even there yet. Well, that's true. I'm not there yet. But I'm gonna tell you how I know. Like how I always know. We're gonna jump into this bad boy right here for that confirmation for the night. So tonight, we're gonna read from Isaiah chapter 43, verses 18 and 19. And it reads, "Do not remember the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." Hold on now. Don't remember the former things? Forget the things of old? That narcissist, that abuse, honestly, you allowing it to happen? Forget that. That's in the past. A new thing is happening in you. You wouldn't be watching these videos. You wouldn't be learning this information if a new thing wasn't brewing up on the inside of you. Now, remember how that narc left you? That narc left you destitute and isolated. Some of y'all in places where you far removed from family and friends. If you're not physically removed, then you may be removed just because of the damage that the narcissist has done throughout the years. But guess what? Even if you're in your wilderness, he'll make a road in the wilderness. If you're in your desert, he'll make a river in the desert. You got to understand, your healing has been promised. It's not only been promised, it's in progress as we speak. I'm going to leave y'all with that tonight. But as always, I love y'all. I thank you for allowing me to fellowship with you. And peace.